Hello and welcome, my name is Ryan, I'm also known as RM2KDev. Today we're going to be doing monster attacks. Now in the last episode we did the hero attack system, which well, I'll demonstrate now, but I think you've already seen and may already have working in your own game. But basically, you click, you attack, and we have lightning, fire, and ice. And I said those in the different order that I actually did them, but we have all three of them. So today we're going to be working on monster attacks. Now, the way the monsters are going to attack, I'm not going to do it in the base object, because I think that each monster should get its own unique way of attacking. In this way, you would then program your attack parameters into each of your monsters rather than once in the base, and then it just magically works. So let's start by jumping into our attacks folder in the sprites. We're just going to create a new attack. Once again, I haven't prepared any sprites for this, I'm just going to make something up, but you guys can use whatever sprite you like. This is just really to show you guys the concept of how to do attacking and some sort of basic AI, state handling and things like that. So I'm just going to start off by calling this sprite attack grass. The grass attack sprite, let's just create a new sprite. 32 by 32 pixels will do fine. Again, remember that they should face the direction that you want them to. If we're going to do directional, what do you call it? Directional rotations, I suppose. That would, implied by direction. Anyway, I'm just going to draw what I think grass would look like as an attack. This is really nasty grass. This is nasty grass. It's not the kind of grass that you... It's not good grass, it's nasty grass. So yeah, this is just going to be my grass attack. And basically the flower monsters, they can just spit this at the player. So that's grass. It's not going to be animated, it's just a grass sprite. Center the sprite and press OK. Now let's jump into the forest monster. Now currently in the alarm event we have, basically it's just a random movement in a random direction at a random time. There's nothing really happening here that makes it, anything special. So we need to create some sort of logic to this basic state handling, I think. So the first thing we're going to do is jump into the step event. We'll get rid of the code that we had there previously, and let's begin by finding the distance to the hero first. So let's just call hero dist equals point underscore distance, and it's going to be from phy position x, phy position y. I spelled that wrong, let me just fix that up. It's going to be the object underscore hero dot position, phy underscore position x, and we'll do the same thing for the y-axis. So we've got the distance to the hero. Maybe the first thing that we want to do is we're just going to log that out. Let's log it out to the console. Show debug message. Debug message. String. I showed you guys how to use the string function in the last video for anyone who didn't know. So hero distance. We're just going to log the distance to the hero in the console window. And let's start the game, and we'll have a look. We'll have a look what comes out. There we go. We're just going to get a whole bunch of random numbers, but the one that gets larger, which is, as you can see, it's this bottom number here, 167, 158. It's basically going to be the one that we're getting closest to, which is most likely going to be this one here. So you can see that. So we're looking at about, or actually that's going to be the one that we're furthest away from. So yeah, we're just going to get, we're basically just going to find a number, and we're going to pick it. We're just going to see how close we are to the hero. So now we've got the hero distance. Let's begin by overriding the draw event. So just select draw, create a new code, bring a new script into that, and we're just going to say draw underscore circle, and we'll just do it from x, y, radius we'll just say 128, and the outline just 1 pixel. If you have the pro version, you can say draw circle x. I think that's what it is. Draw circle. What is it? It's draw underscore. Let's have to find out what it. Draw circle color. I'm not sure if that's pro only, but I think it is. If it is, use it if you have pro. If you don't, just use the other one. Radius is 128. C underscore green is going to be our non-active state, and an outline of 1. So I'm going to use the colors just so I can see what's going on. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say if hero dist is less than 128, then we do that, else we do this. And what this is going to give us is this is just going to give us a nice visual representation of where the hero is in relation to the actual forest monster. So I'm just going to say draw self at the top of this script. So basically it draws itself on the screen, it checks how far away from the hero it is, and then it draws a green or a red circle around itself depending on the distance of the hero in relation to that sprite. So let me jump into the game. Oh, what's this? -1 hero dist. Let's look at our code here. Hero dist. It's unable to find hero dist on itself. That's probably because hero dist hasn't been set yet. So let's just abort this, jump into our create event, and we'll just say hero dist equals 5. Equals, let's say 0. It needs to have this variable set in the create event because the hero the hero object hasn't been created in the room just yet. And yeah, so basically what you're seeing here is I've done the inverse. Sorry about that. Let me just quickly edit that. Go back to your draw event and flip those around. If it is less than 128, we want it to be red, and if it is greater than 128, we want it to be green. So these are going to be the states, and let's shrink that a bit because that was significantly too large. Let's make that 64. There we go. Change all those numbers to 64, and we'll try that again. This should give us something that looks a little bit better, a little bit more manageable as well. There we go. So there's always going to be this sort of easy path through this forest, and that's sort of the thing that I did originally with those walls. So there was always a way to get through it, but what you'll see is when we get too close to these enemies, they do not like it. They see us, and they're not going to be happy about that. So your, which one was it? Your lightning attack, you still be able to hit them from this sort of distance, but you know, you can trigger them and they will be annoyed. And as you'll see, as we get out of the range of one of them, they'll give up looking for us. So what we want to do is we want to make them move towards the hero if they are within this radius. So this number here, vision, 64 is going to be our vision. Jump into the create event. Let's add a vision. Let's just call it vision underscore R, and R is going to stand for radius equals 64. What this is going to do is this is going to allow us to customize it for different monsters as we make them in the future. So hero distance is less than vision R is basically yes, we want to begin attacking that person. So in the alarm event, instead of moving in this direction, we need to do some basic smarts here. We need to say if hero dist is less than underscore dist is less than vision underscore R, we're going to move towards the hero. Else we carry on with what we were doing before. So they're just going to have random movement. They're not going to worry too much about you. They're going to frolic in the fields by themselves until you piss them off. Then they're going to be very angry. So we can do the same thing here, but instead of just going by 5 in a random direction, actually, you know what? We could refactor this. Let's take this out and let's put this over here. We can make this easier so we don't have to declare variables multiple times. It makes it easier to read. So if the hero is not in range, that's fine. If he is in range, instead of using a random number between 0 and 360, we're going to say point direction. And we make this from x and y to object underscore hero.phy position x and object underscore hero.phy position y. And basically, basically what we have now is if the hero is in range, start moving towards them. If the hero is not in range, just carry on about your day, Mr. Forest Monster. So let's jump down into our fields here and see what happens if we get in this guy's range. Now you should see him moving towards me very slowly. Oh, he's hit the wall. Sorry, I didn't realize that. They've got that wall in there, so they're not going to get too close. But basically, these two guys here, you'll see that they do want to get to me. This is not very fast paced at the moment, so what we can do is we can jump in here and we can say that if they are chasing after the player, we want to make this alarm a little bit shorter. So let's make that say 50 so they try and catch up with us a bit faster. It might just be a quick way of getting around that issue. Let me jump over here and see what happens. Yeah, so now you'll see them trying to come after me just a little bit faster than they were. Again, it's not, you know, super fast paced, but they are coming after us. We don't want them to like teleport straight to the player at all. You know, that would be a little bit, see, they're trying to box me in. See, we've got some like box in logic going on here. You know, like I said, we don't want them teleporting around the map too fast, or else it's going to make it a bit unfair. And you can speed these things up. You can make this much faster. You can put this in the step event and do it there and make it faster. There's multiple ways that you can change this around to make it yours. So that's going to be the basis for the movement. The next thing we need to do is we need to trigger their attack cycles. So, in our create event, which I already had open over here, we're going to add a new variable and we're going to call it attack_speed. I'm just going to set it to 30. I don't know how fast 30 is going to be yet, but we will find out shortly. The other thing I might do is this vision radius. Not all monsters are created equally, so to make the game a little bit tougher, I'm going to add a random number. I just thought of that on the spot. That's, you know, just really cool idea. Let's see how that looks in our game. That way, every time we come in, you know, every monster is going to get a different, slightly bigger vision. See, these guys here are slightly bigger than some of these guys here. Makes it a bit more challenging, possibly. And again, like, it's up to you. You don't have to have these blocks that I've put in here that stop them from wandering around the map so much. You could maybe just put those blocks around here so they don't get in the way of the warps and the bridges and let them wander around freely. That's completely and entirely up to you guys, so feel free to edit and change this, because, you know, this is your game. You're trying to make your game here, not just a copy of mine. So that's fine. I like the way this is looking. Let's get the attack cycles working. So back in the create event, we've got this attack speed equals 30 variable. In the alarm 0, we have the random movement variable here, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say alarm 1 equals attack_speed. So if we are in the hero's distance and this has been triggered, this event has been triggered, they're going to have an attack in 30 frames per second towards the hero. Now that doesn't mean if you're still in their distance, they may have spotted you and you may have run away and been out of their distance. That's why I've done it this way, because you don't want them to just suddenly be attacking you. They've seen you, you've run out of their distance, and then it's just like, oh, that guy, I can't see him anymore, that's it. You know, we want it so that when they see you, they will attack you regardless of if you've moved out of their distance or not. They will get one shot if they see you, at least. Because, you know, it's not like the guards in Metal Gear Solid see the character and then they're just like, oh, where'd he go? Oh, never mind, that's fine. So we want to do it like this because we actually want them to do an attack. Now, I don't know how fast this is going to be yet. We're going to tweak that number 30 for attack speed after. But basically, we're going to do the same thing we did for hero. So we need to find out the direction to the player. We're going to call this hero dir this time. Equals point direction from the x and the y position to the object underscore hero.phy position x, and same thing for the y. There we go. Now we've got the hero's direction. We need to spawn an attack in. So in this case, we are going to spawn the grass attack, which we haven't got in there yet. So we're going to have to create that. So let's quickly jump out of here. We're just going to duplicate lightning. Oops, I don't know what I clicked there. We'll just duplicate this lightning one here. We'll just call this object attack grass. Just like that. Change the sprite on that to the grass attack, and we'll just add a new event that's going to be collision with party hero. Simple as that. And we'll just copy this code here and paste that inside of collision with object hero. Now we're going to come back and refactor this in a little while, because this isn't the most efficient way of doing this, but we're going to get this up and running quickly just so we can see how it looks and how it works, and then make some changes to it, and, you know, iterative design basically. So I think most of this code will probably work okay. I will just get rid of this HP and the instance destroy, because those variables don't exist on the hero yet. And that means we also don't need this damage variable. We're just going to push the hero away if they attack us just a little bit. So we've got the collision with hero, the alarm, which would basically destroy itself after a certain amount of time, and the image speed and the attack speed. I think we need to make this one a little faster. I think this needs to be back to 30. Was it 30? No, it was, sorry, we'll leave that at 7. The force needs to be up at about 5, I think. We'll check that out after. Again, we'll tweak all these numbers after and make sure that the game is balanced and that it plays fair after we've basically set it up. So, Same thing that we did for hero. I mean, we may even be able to come into hero and copy paste the code from the left press event, so we don't have to write it again. We'll just take this attack equals instance create, and it's going to be at we need to work out this spawn X and spawn Y again, so we'll just take that as well. There we go. So now we've got the hero direction, the spawn X, the spawn Y. Instead of using dir, we use hero direction, and this should pretty much work. We just change this to object underscore attack underscore grass, and save our game and run it. We'll see what happens. They're obviously not going to fly towards us yet because the monsters don't have that code, but we're going to see them spawning attacks in our direction. As you can see, he's now attacking in our direction. You see them attacking in our direction. And they're obviously, I think they're killing, not obviously, but they're killing themselves, which is quite hilarious. I think we may still have a collision with monster base, which I'm just going to get rid of for this one for the moment. So instead of deleting it, I'm just going to comment it out so that they can't kill themselves with their own attacks for the moment. The next thing, we'll just jump back into that forest monster, alarm 1, and now we're going to do the same thing that we had in hero. We're going to have with attack. And this is sort of where we'll begin the refactoring process of this. It's only going to be a slight refactor, but it's just going to make it work a little bit better. But basically, let's just jump into our hero and global left press, and we're going to copy that code that we had in here. Force, there we go. So now the attack object specifies its own force, so we don't have to do that. The rotation, again, that's just going to be other.hero direction this time, not dir, because we changed it to hero direction. And we apply an impulse from the center of the sprite in the force X and force Y directions. So now if we run our game, you'll see that the enemies are actually throwing this thing at me. And if it does hit me, I believe it will push me back a little bit, maybe. It might not have the force to do that yet, but basically you can see they're now attacking us. And again, if they have been triggered and we get out of their radius, they should still fire at us, providing that they trigger a move event inside of that update step. There you go. So you can see that happening there. And again, it should move in the right direction, should move always towards us, and it should rotate itself so that they're still going to try and chase us around the map a little bit. You know what, just to make this look a little nicer as well, I'm going to actually remove those blocks from my map as well. So let me jump in here. I've got them hidden, so enemy collision, let's just give it a sprite. I think it was under system, collision, enemy collision, there it is. There they are. So now you can see those on my map, and I'm actually just going to remove a couple of them. I'm going to remove that one, I'm going to remove these ones, I'm going to remove that one, and I might actually remove this one as well. So basically we just don't want the enemies to get around these places here. I'm just going to place a new one, sort of stopping them from getting around that. Oh, not that one, sorry. It's a system. Is it system? Or was it under enemies? Enemy collision. There we go. I'm just going to place one here and one here. And hopefully that will just keep this area over here where the boss is going to be a little bit cleaner. There we go. So the monsters, they won't actually get into this area. I'm just going to do it like that, actually. Sorry, that's my OCD. I had to make it look like 64 by 64 squares there. Anyway, so the monsters, they will keep clear of these areas, and now they'll actually chase us around the map until they lose sight of us, or, you know, they get bored and turn around and walk off. So let's give that a shot and see how that works. So they'll start off where they were, but if we get in their way, they'll come towards us. They'll start fighting and firing these things, and they're no longer going to be limited to that little square that they were in before. I think that speed that they're moving towards us at is a little bit too slow, so I'm not happy with that. I'm going to speed that up a little bit. You know, as you see, as we shoot them, they move around a little bit to avoid our bullets, and that's not really a any effect of. That's more or less an inherent effect. It's actually a bug, but it's actually sort of working to our advantage. Basically, our movement, the force we apply to them when they collide with our bullets, is basically making it look like they're trying to avoid them in some way. So that's quite a nice bug. You know, it's a bug or a feature, whatever you want to call it. As long as it works, it works. So we've got the NPCs basically attacking us now. I think we want to make them move a little bit faster. I'm not too happy with the speed that they're moving at. So what I'm going to do here is, instead of making the alarm refresh itself inside of this alarm event, I'm going to make it refresh itself inside of the step event. So let's take that out of here. Let's drop that inside of the step event. We can get rid of this show debug message now. So that's going to start that alarm off, and that's going to be a random number between between 0 and 150, and it's going to be based on hero dist. So if hero dist, hero underscore dist is less than, I think it was vision underscore r. So if they are within range, otherwise do this. So they're going to have a slower movement speed, and if you're in range, you're basically screwed, because these guys are going to chase you very fast. Or that's what we're going to try and make them do anyway. So let's give that a shot, tweaking the numbers, see how they move. There we go. I'm happy with that speed down. Now they're going to chase us a little bit more. You can get out if you give a bit of a run. You might be able to outrun. Yeah, you can outrun them just you can outrun them. That was actually a really good number. We chose that number. There we go. I'm quite happy with that. This is actually making the game quite fun to play. Their attack speed, I think their attack speed is a little too slow. They attack maybe 50% too slow, so I think we should speed that up by half. So in the attack 2, sorry, not in attack 2, in alarm 0, we're going to speed this one, in create event, if I get this right, we're going to speed attack speed up to, say, 15. Let's double it. Let's make them twice as aggressive. There we go. So now they're going to attack us twice as fast. You see them attacking twice as fast. And that one there gave up, obviously, because we left his collision radius. And you'll also see the collisions are working nicely. They're basically ganging up on me, and they can push me around. I can push them around. One thing I can see happening here, which is a little bit wrong, is they are not locked rotation. So we should probably jump in and lock their rotations. So let's do that now. In the create event, all we have to do is say... Actually, let's do this in the base, because we don't want any monsters to have rotations, really. So let's just jump into this base event and just say physics, I think it's phy underscore fixed rotation equals true. So if you have any problems with around or doing some strange stuff like that in a 2D game that's using the physics engine, and you don't want them to, just in the create event drop the phy fixed rotation equals true, and basically that locks their rotation. It fixes it to 0 or 90 or whatever GameMaker uses as their default. So that's pretty much it for monster attacks. I mean, the next step that we could do is we could add some health for our hero. So we could just say in our heroes create events, max health equals, let's give him a little bit more, 100. And then we just say health equals max underscore health. Actually, let's call this HP. Sorry, I called them HP in the other one, because I wanted to avoid using the GameMaker internal one. So HP equals max HP, and in our draw GUI event, we can also come in here, we can say, add another draw text, its Y position will increment by 10, it's just going to say HP, or health, and it's just going to say HP, and then we have another string with a dividing slash, and then we have another string, and it's going to say max underscore HP. So you just for the moment, until we get some nice, GUI elements in there. I mean, you guys, if you want, you can start to use, the draw health bar. I think it was draw health. Yeah, there you go, draw health bar, and you can set that up in your GUI event, and you'll get a nice health bar on the screen if you want to do that. So let's just jump in and have a look what this looks like. I didn't increase that enough. That gap needs to be about 25 pixels. So let's do that. Jump back into our game, and let's have a look. We move into their radius. They're attacking us. Oh, we're not losing any health yet. Let's do that. So in our object attack grass, in our collision with the hero object, we simply say HP equals negative other.damage. And you can do, you probably shouldn't put this code here in the game. If HP is less than 0, instant destroy, because that's going to destroy your hero from the game. What you would want to do is say if HP is less than or equal to 0, handle game over. So I'm just going to add a comment here for that, but basically maybe let's just go show debug message, and we'll just write you are dead, game over, lol. There we go. So for the moment, we're just going to say that. But basically in here, you would do a room transition to your game over screen. Whatever you want to do for the ending of your game. So maybe your game is a traditional role-playing game where it fades out and fades into an outro screen where it says game over. You could do that. If you were doing maybe more of a shump style, like what we're doing here, where it's like action, and when you die you respawn to a checkpoint, you could then just maybe change the heroes. You could actually use the hero reposition event, which we created earlier, and set those variables up so that your hero teleports back to the checkpoint area and then reset his HP with a debuff or something like that, depending on what you guys want to do. So let's just jump in and have a look at our health, see if it's going down, see what sort of damage these NPCs do to us. There you go. So you'll see that they're actually attacking me now and I'm actually losing health. So I'm going to get them all angry if I can. And what you should see is a lot of health being lost. There we go. So they're all angry at me, they're all shooting, and now I'm dead. And you'll see in my console down here, you are dead, game over. But because we're basically game admins, we're not going to die. These guys are going to die. And now they're dead. You'll see we've got the physics rotation issue happening here. I'm going to need to drop that piece of code inside of our heroes create event. So just in our create event, just add a phy fixed rotation equals true, and that will stop that rotation issue from happening. I did try to address that earlier by setting a very high angular dampening variable, which basically dampens the amount of angular rotation force that's applied to the hero object, so the hero's physics fixture object. But you know, obviously it wasn't enough, and a large number of collisions could possibly make the hero start to twist around. I know a few of you guys have mentioned in the comments that you have that sort of issue, so just put that phy fixed rotation anywhere that you don't want things to rotate. So that has been the second part for the monster attack system. We've basically got the attacks down. You guys can create a few more attacks in your game. I may create a few more attacks in my game. In the next video, we're going to be doing the basics of our boss fight. So probably setting up the map of some kind, maybe setting up a basic boss. I'm thinking something like Zelda. So you're in a dungeon, you walk into a room, door shuts. So we're going to use the questing system for that, so that we can remember the state of the game. So the door will shut. The boss will spawn. He may have, say, 4 pillars around him that are shooting at you from every direction. It becomes a little bit like a shump then, like a shoot 'em up old style game, like the Galaga, or maybe not Galaga because I don't particularly like that game, but some of those fast-paced shooting games. So basically, the door shuts, the pillars come out of the ground, they start shooting at you. You have to avoid the bullets while shooting back at the boss, and he's spawning minions into the world, and he's also throwing health potions on the floor that only heal him and not you. So something like that is what I'm thinking for the boss system. Let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see, and thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video. That's all. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys.